handicapped.com.
Forget Joe DiMaggio. Where have you gone, Adrian Peterson? RJ Bell here at the pregame.com studios, just off the Vegas Strip. We're talking Arizona at Minnesota NFL action.
The Vikes have been slumping, RJ. Who you like in this game?
I actually like the other side. I'm going with Arizona. And here's the thinking. We've got on the Minnesota side, Coach Zimmer, a guy getting a lot of love earlier this year. Minnesota, obviously a wonderful start to the season. There was even talk about, the Bill Belichick of the NFC. Ha, ha, ha. This is a 50-plus-year-old guy, never had a head coaching job. Not saying that GMs always make the right decisions, but let's just say that he's still uncertain how good Coach Zimmer is. One thing I know for sure is this is a super intense coach, a coach that went wowed after they lost their first game. And I think that A-type intensity, when you've now lost 4 straight games, can be a negative instead of a positive. Since we haven't seen Zimmer in this situation, I think it's a big negative, a big uncertainty for the Minnesota team.
And I think you talk about Zimmer. I think a Belichick can have that type A personality, be super intense. I don't know if Zimmer has really earned that with his players. It might impact the team negatively instead of positively.
Yeah, and I think that he also doesn't have enough or sufficient belief in himself. So when Belichick has struggles, for example, he's like, well, I've done this so long, looks down to all his Super Bowl rings on both hands, I guess it takes, counting back to the Giants, and he says, okay, I trust myself. Zimmer, when his back's against the wall, is he going to trust himself? I'm not certain he won't. I'm not certain that he's going to excel. I just think this is a big X factor. And when you look at this line, I think it's a situation where if Minnesota has any negatives that's not accounted for in the line, I like Arizona. And I think the second reason is going to speak to that.
Yeah, your second main handicap.
Yeah, and in the second one here, it's how good Arizona is if you look at the yards per play net, and that's what the wise guys love. We talk about it pretty much every week. The second best team in the NFL, Arizona, a team with a really bad record relative to being number 2 in stats. Well, we love that, right? Because if they had a great record, the public would be like, yeah, we're Arizona. Well, now the public's like, I'm not sure how good they are. Carson Palmer, he's old. All those X factors, but still the second best stats. That makes them underrated.
You know, and the Minnesota Vikings historically have always had great rushing stats. We expect them to be at the top of the league. What's this? They're averaging 2.7 yards per rush, RJ. Last in the NFL. The NFL average is 4.1. That's horrendous.
Yeah, and wise guys, listen. I'm guilty of this. You're guilty of this. I love to go on the radio talk in a haughty way about, the squares in the mainstream media say this, that, the other, but the wise guys, they know. Well, wise guys know more than most, but also the wise guys, they said Adrian Peterson, maybe a half a point. I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't mind a healthy Adrian Peterson in the backfield if I were a Minnesota fan.
Big time. Let's make it official.
Let's make this baby official. We have Coach Zimmer, who is so intense. There's uncertainty about how he responds to all these losses. With Arizona, we got a team not with a great record, but the second best stats in the NFL. Added up, we're going for Arizona to win the game. More videos, pregame.com.